Информация, предоставленная Харальдом Каутц-Велла, является без преувеличения шокирующей. И самое страшное, что это не научная фантастика, а реальность. Приятного просмотра! Элла.
But many researchers into this field also say that human beings had that ability themselves without even having to tap into the ether or whatever it is through a device or something. But it even was something they were able to do through the pineal gland and the heart chakra. What are your thoughts on that?
They're two different, now we're talking free energy, they're two different concepts. You can steal from your brother, you can steal from your father. It's fractal. You know, if you have a device that forms a plasma vortex that has the same size, same structure, same frequency as plasma vortexes in the sun, you can have a non-local interaction. And through the quantum vacuum you pull energy into the vortex you control in your machine. You just need to keep it a little bit too slow and too small so that it has the impulse to balance and pull in energy. This is kind of how you can pull from a brother, or you go in the hierarchy to the fractal above, to the layer above, and you pull from the big to the tiny, from like pulling energy from a hurricane into a tornado that is embedded somewhere. And when you do this, you actually get the possibility to pull energy from source. This is when technology becomes spiritual. You need a certain spiritual setup to be the father to your machine, and then it starts running. I remember there was somebody in Mexico living in a slum. His child was depending on machinery to stay alive, and they had these power shutdowns every now and then. And whenever the electricity faded away, the son was in danger of dying. So he modified his motorcycle just by giving a disbalance into the back wheel, and then he gave it a kick, and this motorcycle started to perpetuate. And he was using it to create electricity to keep his son alive. And this is love. He loved his son. and this energy was absorbed by the machine, and it don't give a damn about the technical concept. It doesn't make a difference. Yeah, so this is pulling from source. It's a completely different structure of technology than pulling from a neighboring structure. This can be cold. You can have a dumb person operating a machine like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so
what's the significance of the pineal gland? Some people even suggest that in the old days, before the pineal gland was calcified through genetically modified food and chemtrails and all of the things, and the dumbing down, and of course the fear attack constantly on the human mind throughout the many centuries now, and religion. Back then, they could move objects by the power of thought. Some people even say that the pyramids were built by people thinking about it to move the objects. Could also be alien technology or a mixture of that. What are your thoughts on this?
Basically, the pineal gland can see longitudinal and can see scalar. So the wave patterns that are rejected, ignored by standard physics, become visible inside this eye. It really has the structure of an eye. If you make a crosscut, it looks like an eye, but it sees different wave patterns. So with the longitudinal, you actually can see through matter. So you can blindfold a child, and if it's trained to see with a pineal gland, with a third eye, it can still ride a parkour on a bike without having an accident, or distinguish colors and shapes. There are schools doing this. You get shitloads of YouTubes at the moment of children reviving these abilities. And with the scalar, actually, you also see things, but you see non-locally. And you see not in the now. So you can see the future, you can see the past. because the scalar has a different access to space-time. The longitudinal is still bound to the now concept of space-time, that we live in a now, and then the next now comes, and then the next, but we always stay in the now. This is kind of the way space-time evolves in a way, and we have a past. But the past is not the same like the now that was before. The past is a concept of speed of light, and it's difficult, you know. You can go into a higher dimensional understanding of realms from there, kind of. We're not doing this, it's too complicated.
But do you think everything has already happened? Meaning that the past exists now, and the future exists as well, and the present?
You need to understand that there are two different times, two different concepts of time that we project on top of each other. One concept of time is the recursive nows. One now develops of the last now into the future now, and then another now. This is a recursive process. It's within the mathematical realms, these recursions. And at the same time, once these recursions construct a 3D with space and time, you also have basically exchange of information that is based on two light cones, the future light cone and the past light cone, with the light traveling with the speed of light and with minus speed of light into the past. So if you take this now, we can make this with, this is now. And then you have the future and the past. And from the now, you've got a wave pattern going into a future event and a wave pattern going into a past event, changing both, patterns being sent back, creating the next now. So what the physicists call the Urknall, what is Urknall? The initial explosion of the universe. What is this in English?
Big Bang?
The Big Bang. The Big Bang is not at the beginning of time. The Big Bang is at the middle of time. The Big Bang is always in the now. And from there, the past is growing like the future is growing, and the universe is expanding. This is something they completely got wrong, because they are in this overlaying projections of the two time qualities. They think that they need to go into the past to find the origin, but the origin is always in the now. This is why the creational concept in the Bible is more accurate than the physicist's concept. Because you can jump in at any now as a divine influence and become creational.
And also
and
change the past.
Yes, it's changing with it.
So it's not even just going back in time through a time travel device that they say the military has.
It's completely different. And they know some of it, and I need to be careful, because I don't want to feed these scientists with ideas, because they are running on dark paths at the moment.
Maybe they already know. I mean, at least those working perhaps at CERN on the underground levels. And
yes. They do kind of interesting things, like shooting people into the past with shock waves, lowering the space-time density, the energy density, and then they have one kicking impulse going through a group of people, and this shock wave is transporting them into the now, that is at the same place, but at the energy density they artificially created. So basically it's like a dialing code. You take the energy density of a certain point in space-time, and then you shoot a shock wave through them, and they reappear in the place where the energy density is also there.
Are we talking about CERN now?
Yes, this is what they do.
The Large Hadron Collider.
Yes. It's all published. It's fucking published. It's so crazy, you know. They do this, they put out the papers fully knowing and trusting that nobody can read and understand them.
They say that they're going to switch on the collider next year in 2021. Do you think this has something to do with what is going on in the world right now with the coronavirus and the power structure?
Possible, yes.
Because they talked about, of course, wanting to find this God particle, but many researchers say that they open portals to allow more demonic, archon entities into this realm, or to change the timeline in some kind of way.
Yes, they do all sorts of things. They have these computers that are aligned with parallel space-time sheets where evil entities feed us with their artificial intelligence. So
From parallel dimensions.
yes.
Not this one.
Not this one.
But they're here as well.
The computer is here, and then in the parallel dimension there's an equal computer at the same place, and then they cool it down to a certain temperature, and then the two timelines meet in the computer, and the entities on the other side, in the other space-time sheet, supply us with calculating powers, or their technological realm. This is what these quantum computers are about. And you can go to the lectures of the CEO of the company delivering, and he will state exactly this. It's not a secret.
And they talk about entities also.
Yes, they also talk about archons that are involved in this system. They're quite honest about what they do.
So is it
Подписывайтесь на канал и не пропустите новые выпуски. Берегите себя.